You're watching an independent investigator step past a heavily rusted perimeter fence, walking deep into a fog-choked forest in the dead of night. This specific 10-mile radius of dense woodland has been strictly off-limits to the public for over 2 centuries. The government enforces a permanent zero-tolerance quarantine around the entire perimeter. Local records point to a single entity at the absolute center of this exclusion zone. They call it the Silent Witness, a sprawling, ancient oak standing motionless between the stone ruins of long-abandoned homes. The military perimeter exists specifically to contain a biological anomaly, a living system that modern science cannot explain. To understand the origin of this quarantine, we have to rewind to the 1700s. Back then, this exact clearing was home to a thriving, isolated pioneer settlement. Over the course of a single week, the entire population vanished. When the first magistrates arrived to investigate, they found untouched dining tables, fully stocked pantries, and livestock resting in their pens. There were zero signs of a struggle. Journal entries left behind in the homes described the ground waking up and roots pulling neighbors down into the dark. Search parties scoured the surrounding 50 miles for months. They dragged the rivers and excavated the basements. Out of 200 missing men, women, and children, they never recovered a single bone. An entire community was cleanly erased from the biological record. Our investigator is now standing at ground zero of that 300-year-old ecological vacuum. Approaching the tree's base, the flashlight beam catches the primary root system. The wood here twists and bulges above the soil like tensed muscle fibers. Scraping away the top layer of dirt near the trunk reveals oxidized silver coins, brass buttons, and heavily tarnished belt buckles dating directly to the late 18th century. Look at this microscopic cross-section showing how the root handles organic material. Scraps of 18th century wool and cured leather are physically woven into the tree's cellular structure. The plant's xylem layers secrete a localized acid. This chemical process slowly dissolves complex organic compounds, breaking down natural fabrics and drawing the resulting nutrients upward into the main trunk. The roots aren't merely anchoring the tree to the ground. They form a biological net that actively harvested the physical remains of the missing village. Following the path of that nutrient draw, the investigator points the beam up the massive span of the trunk, just as a thunderstorm breaks overhead. The entire exterior surface of the trunk is densely packed with human hands and screaming faces, permanently frozen in the grain. This is a biological archive. The tree isn't just absorbing biomass, it is replicating the physical trauma of its victims within its own structure. The growth rings didn't just bury the villagers, they grew through them, hardening their screaming features into a permanent wooden relief. This massive organism meticulously preserves a 3-dimensional record of the final moments of every living thing it consumes. Suddenly, the halogen bulb in the investigator's flashlight begins to stutter. The beam bims, flickers rapidly against the wood, and shorts out entirely, plunging the clearing into total darkness. The area doesn't stay dark. A dull, rhythmic green glow starts to pulse from beneath the bark itself. The bioluminescence reveals that the entire structure is waking up. Hundreds of secondary, hair-like roots thread silently through the damp soil, wrapping tightly around the investigator's boots and locking him perfectly in place. Near the base of the trunk, illuminated by the dying battery of the dropped flashlight, a brand new face is already pushing its way through the wood. The features capture a permanent look of utter shock. We build fences and draw lines on maps, assuming we are the observers managing a passive ecosystem. In reality, nature is an active, eternal collector, perfectly content to wait for the moment it reclaims us entirely.